José Aldo. José Aldo is the first ever UFC featherweight champion, and he had a very dominant title reign. He was undefeated for 10 straight years, and he defended the featherweight belt 7 times. But after he got knocked out in the first round by Conor McGregor, he did bounce back pretty quickly, beating lightweight great Frankie Edgar to become the interim champion of the featherweight division. And he was later promoted to the undisputed featherweight champion, which makes him one of the only two people to become the two-time featherweight champion. But after losing his belt to Max Holloway, he fought 14 more times and went 6 and 8, losing to names like Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway twice, Merab Dvalishvili, and even Peter Yan. What makes his downfall even worse is that he fought for the title 3 more times, 2 more times against Max Holloway in the featherweight division, and 1 time against Peter Yan in the bantamweight division, and he lost all 3 of those title fights. Even though Jose Aldo had such a tragic downfall, we will never forget him, and he will always be remembered as one of the greatest featherweights of all time. Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is the first ever UFC fighter who has beaten Jose Aldo. He defeated Chad Mendes in UFC 198 to become the interim champion, but later he fought Jose Aldo himself in UFC 194, and he delivered one of the biggest upsets in featherweight history and also one of the greatest chaos in featherweight history, knocking out Jose Aldo in under 20 seconds, who was, as I mentioned, undefeated for 10 straight years. Even though Conor's rise to become the featherweight champion was very explosive, he did not defend his title, not even 1 time, because he was pursuing double champ, and he went on to later become the lightweight champion. Max Holloway. Max Holloway knocked out Anthony Pettis in the third round in 2016 to become the interim champion. After that, he fought Jose Aldo 2 times and knocked him out both times, followed by an insane knockout against Brian Ortega. This already won him the title and gave him 2 defenses, but after this, Max Holloway thought he was ready to become the double champ, as Conor McGregor was before him. So he fought Dustin Poirier in lightweight division, but he lost that fight pretty clearly. But even after that, he still defended his title 1 more time against Frankie Edgar. But in his fourth defense, he would eventually meet his demise against Alexander Volkanovski, who beat Max Holloway in a very close fight, which was followed by a second title fight against Alexander Volkanovski, and that ended in an even closer decision. After this, Max Holloway quickly picked up a 2 fight win streak, which would eventually lead to his trilogy with Alexander Volkanovski, and that fight ended in a very clear decision win to Alexander Volkanovski. But he would still fight for the featherweight title 1 more time against Ilia Topuria, and he was given this title shot after he brutally knocked out Justin Gaethje in UFC 300, which is widely considered one of the best knockouts in UFC history. But when he fought Ilia Topuria, he got smashed from the very first round, and eventually he got knocked out in the third round. Even though he might not be the best featherweight of all time, he is certainly one of the most beloved ones, since he always brings a lot of action in the cage, and he always tries to make his fights look good no matter what. Alexander Volkanovski. Alexander Volkanovski had an insane 12-fight win streak in the featherweight division, and he defeated names like Jose Aldo, Chad Mendes, Max Holloway, Brian Ortega, Peter Yan, and even Yair Rodríguez. He defended his title 4 times, and after that he was considered the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. He went on to fight Islam Makhachev in the lightweight division to pursue double champ, but unfortunately Islam Makhachev got the robbery decision according to a lot of fans. But Volkanovski still continued his momentum, defending his title 1 more time against the interim champion Yair Rodríguez. But after this defense, he would make the biggest mistake of his career. He fought Islam Makhachev in 2 weeks' notice to save a card in Abu Dhabi in UFC 294, and he got brutally knocked out in the second round. The thing that makes this worse is he took this fight while he already had a fight confirmed in UFC 298 against a hungry up-and-comer who is Ilia Topuria. And in that fight against Ilia, he again got knocked out, and a lot of people are blaming the Islam fight, which resulted in the Ilia knockout. Luckily, Volk's story has a good ending because after Ilia Topuria vacated his belt and went up to lightweight, he fought for the undisputed title again against a very hungry up-and-comer who is Diego Lopez, and he won that fight in fashion, which brings us to today where Alexander Volkanovski is still the undisputed featherweight champion and he is looking to defend his title against people like Yair, Rodríguez and Movsar Evloev. All of these reasons contribute to Alexander Volkanovski being the greatest featherweight of all time. Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria is an undefeated featherweight who was running through the division, finishing people like Bryce Mitchell and Jai Herbert. When he fought Alexander Volkanovski for the title in UFC 298, he knocked him out very easily in the second round, and that was the start of his title reign. For his first and only title defense, he fought Max Holloway, who was just coming off of an insane knockout against Justin Gaethje, and he brutally knocked him out in the third round. And you gotta remember, Max Holloway has never ever been knocked out in the UFC, and this is only his second ever finished loss. And Ilia knocked both Max and Volk out in 2024 alone. But after his first defense, Ilia said that the weight cut for the featherweight division is very difficult for him and he cannot make that weight anymore. So he vacated the featherweight belt and moved to lightweight to fight for the title. And he obviously knocked out Charles Oliveira to become the lightweight champion. Even though Ilia Topuria moved up to lightweight way earlier than the other champions, most people say that he's deserved it since he basically walked through two generations of featherweights. And those are every single featherweight champions in UFC history. I know I haven't mentioned Yair Rodríguez because he has never been undisputed. But if you guys enjoyed this video, then please make sure to like, subscribe and comment down below what you guys think. And inshallah, I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.